This is made possible by the developments in large language models that ChatGPT uses. Same thing that you would chat with can also process imagery. And so we've customized these models to detect for our use case what we are looking for and to flag things that, we don't necessarily have a whole bunch of images to teach it about trucks and about all the different types of damage that might occur and the difference between a sleeper cab. But we can leverage both what these models already know with our custom application of them to look at them and inform, output what we need so that we can automate a lot of these things that used to take a person at the guard shack.
This is Tyson Fisher, Associate Editor at Landline Magazine. Some of you may be familiar with the truck parking company called Outpost. Currently, Outpost has a network of 21 truck parking facilities that oversees thousands of truck parking spots. So earlier this year, Outpost announced they received millions of dollars in Series A funding, and already that money is going to pretty good use. So to talk about the most recent use, joining me today is Greg Akselrod, the Chief Technology Officer at Outpost, to talk about that latest development. So thanks for joining me, Greg.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So yeah, as I mentioned, Outpost oversees 21 locations, thousands of parking spots, plans to double that footprint this year. But it looks like Outpost is throwing new artificial intelligence technology into the whole mix of the truck parking situation. So kind of give me a brief overview of what this new AI technology platform is being launched.
Yeah. So when I joined a year ago, I had the opportunity to talk to our customers from single truck carriers all the way up to enterprise fleets, and about the parking life cycle, which sounds fancy, but really what it means is finding and booking space at the fragmented, thousands of lots around the country, showing up, trying to get in, then keeping tabs on where their equipment is, who is actually driving it in and out, the condition of it, as well as the security of it while it's in the yard, so they can trust that it's going to be there when they come back. And what we found was we were in a unique position because we had this real estate network of yards to build something special from the ground up. That's really not possible if you can't literally bolt things into the ground. And so we designed this technology platform to solve each of those phases. And what it manifests itself in, as you mentioned, it's a set of cameras, an intercom, an industrial keypad, license plate recognition, basically a technology package at the gate, plus cameras with AI built in on the poles that allows us to operate our network at scale and in a very consistent way.
So let's kind of just walk through this from the user experience here. So the technology includes like this black kiosk at the entrance of the facility, and it's it's kind of similar to some of the kiosks that we see at like storage facilities with the keypad for entrance. But unlike other kiosks, this one's got like 4 different cameras on it. Very futuristic, cool looking. But so it kind of but what I like to talk about are those cameras and the artificial intelligence technology. So one of the things that the cameras do is that it is what's called asset identification. So it kind of looks like Outpost will be able to track specific vehicles. You can talk a little bit about that.
That's right. So when a vehicle approaches a tractor or a tractor with a trailer or personal vehicle, we're using AI to detect, first of all, what is this vehicle that's showing up? We're determining license plate as well as the markings on it. So license plate is great if you're the government, but if you're a fleet manager, you want to know the tractor ID and the trailer ID. There's also the US DOT number on there. So we're reading these, we're mapping them, we're determining, did the tractor bobtail in or did it have a trailer with it? And we're also doing damage identification. So we're scanning the exterior of the truck. We're looking for things like missing mud flaps or damage that may have appeared, and we're able to flag that so that fleet managers can literally keep their eyes on their fleet and be proactive about issues.
Yeah, so when it comes to the tracking of the vehicle numbers, I mean, this is I'm assuming this is to ensure that the person that is using the access code that you were given is driving the tractor that they're supposed to be driving and hauling the trailer that they're supposed to be driving. So is this kind of a way for not just for the fleet owner to keep track of his vehicle, but as a way as kind of a time-stamped proof to the shippers and receivers that this is where your shipment is, this is the vehicle, and look, we have camera proof. This is where it's at now.
That's exactly right. There's a lot of different reasons that you want to have eyes on the equipment. One of them is so you have that truth of it actually showed up. It wasn't falsified, or maybe, oh, I was running late, but let me just mark it as 9 a.m. or whatever. It also gives them the ability to instantly know this trailer, maybe if it's a relay, for example, this trailer showed up, it was in exactly this condition, and it was delivered by the carrier that I booked to bring it, and it wasn't double brokered or something like that. And they can just log in on outpost.us to see all of that information, both in tabular form as well as literally the imagery, the video and pictures.
You kind of touched on this briefly, but I want to get to more specifics about this, which is the damage detection with these cameras. And so this is something that it's new to me, at least. I haven't seen it in any other trucking yard. So in addition to capturing the numbers of the vehicles, it looks like this AI technology is also able to detect whether or not there's visible damage to either the tractor or the trailer. So, I mean, what kind of prompted that feature and how exactly does that work?
Yeah, this is made possible by the developments in large language models that ChatGPT uses. Same thing that you would chat with can also process imagery. And so we've customized these models to detect for our use case what we are looking for and to flag things that, we don't necessarily have a whole bunch of images to teach it about trucks and about all the different types of damage that might occur and the difference between a sleeper cab. But we can leverage both what these models already know with our custom application of them to look at them and inform, output what we need so that we can automate a lot of these things that used to take a person at the guard shack.
Sure. So when a vehicle comes in, let's say, I mean, the picture that you guys provided us was that there was, a big, like basically crack or dent on a top of a tractor. When the truck moves into the facility, the camera's able to just spot that, right? And so kind of get to the weeds of that technology a little bit. You kind of mentioned how the technology is able to detect these things based on certain modeling and what's available to you. Now, is this the type of AI that kind of has I guess a machine learning algorithm to where over time it gets more refined based on the data that comes through, or kind of how does that? I'm kind of just curious on how that
Yeah,
camera technology works.
that's exactly right. So we have a variety of 4K sensors on the pedestal facing in all directions, and we're using our own algorithms to determine when is the right time to take that snapshot of it and feed it into the machine learning, into the AI. And because we serve all types of trucks, all types of equipment, all types of fleets, we have this incredible amount of data from every time a vehicle passes in or out of our yards. And so all of that data is constantly being saved, and it allows us to make this better than you could possibly make it if you were training on, let's say, a single private yard.
Sure. So yeah, individually, these are all really cool features, but it kind of looks like that all this information is being collected and included in essentially a report once a truck arrives at the facility. So kind of talk about that, because that kind of looks like that from the way that I see it is you have a truck, it enters the facility, and then it looks like you can find out all the information we just talked about is included. What does that include?
Yeah. So a driver pulls up, they're going to enter an access code which identifies under which account they're entering. Sometimes we have carriers that haul for multiple of our customers, and so we have to know who, for example, they're actually bringing this trailer in for. We then are automatically recognizing the tractor and the trailer, the identifiers on it all, and we're doing that damage detection all in near real time. And so from the portal on outpost.us, they can see all of this information and the imagery. And then we have search functionality and filter functionality, so they can do things like search for if there's damage, or search for a certain trailer and see, okay, this trailer entered here, it had damage when it entered, so that when the next driver came and picked it up and said there was damage, you can determine, for example, was it already there or not.
So it's kind of it'd be beneficial in a way for a lot of these fleets to kind of use the network of outposts. Because if you were to use, let's say, outposts for a trucking spot at one location, but you don't use outposts for another one, you're not going to have that visual timestamp as far as the damage is concerned. So it kind of gives you a step-by-step, I guess, visual timestamp proof. And I guess that would be the benefit to using outposts. Is that pretty much the idea here?
That's right. You think about it, it's a checkpoint. So you don't have to exclusively use Outposts to get a ton of value from it. But by flowing in or out of our yards, you're able to kind of run it through this inspection. You'll know that if it's a loaded trailer, for example, you'll know that Outpost has it. The gates are automatically surveilled. Sorry, the gates and the perimeter is automatically surveilled consistently, and it's going to be secure. And you can access that information. And so, we believe that fleets and individual drivers will choose to use Outposts because of that additional services and functionality. Plus, individual drivers, besides the visibility and the security aspect, it's just so much easier and more confidence inducing to know that when I log in and I book parking and I get an access code, it's instantly provisioned into that pedestal. And when people end their reservations, they're deprovisioned. So I don't have random people with codes floating around just flowing in and out.
Sure. You also mentioned that the AI technology can detect intruders in the yard. So what is the technology kind of looking for, and what happens when unusual activity is detected?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the way that we have it set up is it's looking for people or vehicles that are crossing areas that they shouldn't be. So for example, if we see somebody near or on one of our fences, we set off an internal alarm, and we have a central operations team that reacts to that and intervenes, whether that's calling the authorities or intervening through a loudspeaker that saying, hey, we see you, please step off the property, etc. And it turns out that 95% of the time, just being able to intervene at the moment and at the right spot in the yard is enough to get them to go away. Even if you have, let's say, a person walking around the yard 24/7, you're literally talking about half a mile or a mile of fence line. So they're only hitting an area once every 20 minutes. A lot can be done in that time, and a lot of people can hide in that time.
Another question I have is, so is this technology platform, is it going to be rolled out at all the locations or select locations? How's that rollout working?
So we have already rolled it out at a handful of locations. As we've been testing it, iterating on it, we're now at a point that we're ready to announce it, and we're accelerating that rollout to the remainder of our network through the end of the summer.
Okay. Usually with technology, and especially newer technology like artificial intelligence, there's a lot of concerns when it comes to privacy. Especially when we're talking about the collection of DOT numbers and license plates, and then I mean, I'm sure I don't know if you're using facial recognition, but that's being captured by these cameras. So you have a lot of data, basically.
That's right.
A lot of personal data. So what is Outpost doing to protect that data, and like how long are you retaining this information? Like what's the policy?
Yeah. So the One thing to note is that there's a big difference between just building tech and building it for sort of world scale. I spent years at Microsoft and Amazon, both of which have major government customers, and so everything we do and everything we did had to be compliant. We had to think through, data governance and things like that. So we keep we keep the data through modern security. Everything's encrypted, and it's only available to the customers when they need it, and if they need it. What we don't have is some server under somebody's desk that somebody is putting on BitTorrent or things like that. So we take it very seriously, and we know that our customers' trust is hard to gain, easy to lose, and so we're taking steps throughout the entire stack, hardware and software, to make sure, literally, our business is security of their assets. The data is one component of it.
So we've been talking about all the cool technology, the AI features, but it's also worth noting that the technology platform also includes some of the more basic, I guess, technology that's known for truck parking, including the availability, the tracking of what spots are being occupied and whatnot. So I'd imagine that when you go onto the website, when you're booking truck parking spots, does that include real-time information of availability?
Yeah, so I initially thought that this stuff was pretty simple, and I kind of gained a lot of appreciation for the complexity that comes with this. So it's not good enough just to take account, for example, of how many things went in and out, because a car takes up a very different amount of space than a tractor or a tractor and a trailer, for example. The way people park and where they park might consume one space or two, or or on the flip side, sometimes a drive aisle, if you've got other drive aisles, could be turned into a parking spot during peak times. So it's not super simple, but what I will say is that it is instantly updated. If you see space on our website and you book, you know that when you get there, that access code is going to work, and you will have space.
Excellent. That pretty much answers all the questions I have. Is there anything else you'd like to add that I may have missed?
The thing we're really excited about is that this marks the beginning of what we believe is a paradigm shift in the way that real estate is used in freight, for two main reasons. One is that it's previously been a constraint where I didn't have a place to leave a trailer, where if I left it there, I couldn't trust that that load was still going to be there when I got back. Being able to turn it from a constraint into this sort of degree of freedom or strategic advantage is going to unlock a whole bunch of new scenarios and allow carriers to expand into areas that they couldn't grow their business into before without those assets. And second, it's the difference between having a GPS ping of like, oh, it was there at that time, versus actually seeing it with your eyes and seeing that proof and who was actually behind the wheel, and is the person who's supposed to be behind the wheel, and was that damage there or not. And so we think that this increased level of trust, visibility, and flexibility are going to unlock a whole bunch of new scenarios where you're going to be able to run your fleet better on Outpost than you could even at your own private yards.
Yeah, the visual detection and the visual proof that you get, certainly a game changer. So pretty exciting. So Greg, thanks for joining me. And then again, for anyone who wants more information about this, you could check out Outpost website at outpost.us. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me on.